Hello, my name is Dylan Prince. I'll be speaking about the Electoral College. Electoral College is a system we currently use to elect our presidents. Many people think that we live in a democracy, but the truth is we live in a republic, which means that we elect officials to actually vote for our president for us. The issue with the there are several issues with the Electoral College. It can create issues in elections and pretty much mess up democracy in the system that we use. First, I'll be going over the problems that we have with the Electoral College. It's very rare for this occurrence to happen, but it is possible for a candidate to win the election without winning the popular vote. This happens when the candidate can win more electoral votes but not actual popular votes. Which means if a candidate wins like California, Florida, they'll get more votes if somebody wins like Iowa and Montana, because there's minimal electoral votes in that region of America. That's the first problem. Second problem, which reiterates the first problem, is that this system allows candidates to pretty much write off some states. For example, it's ever-changing because it's loosely based on population. For the House of Reps, they'll get more electoral votes for that part of the Electoral College, but for a Senate, every state gets 2. So let's say Montana would have 4. They would have 2 Senate seats, then 2 House seats. But Florida would probably have close to 50 electoral votes, which pretty much is self-explanatory in how a candidate would spend their campaigning time. Would they spend it in California, or would they spend it in Alaska? Obviously, it's going to be California because they get more votes. Is that fair for those states? I would say no. Each state would probably have its right to see the presidential candidate because they want to know what's going on with their issues and everything, but they're allowed to skip just because there's no electoral votes. If the electoral system were changed, these problems wouldn't occur. They would have to spend equal time in each state. Another reason why the Electoral College is a bad plan that we currently use is that it grants extra weight to parochial needs in swing states. I'll give you a couple of examples if you don't know. The word parochial may be confusing, but parochial means like in Florida, if let's say a candidate came to Florida and they reached out to exclusively Cuban migrants, because that's a large population in Florida, or citrus farmers. It's a large, they'd be able to ignore some demographics to win a state. And also, like if you go out to the Midwest where there's a lot of farming, if you just focus on farmers, that's a majority of the vote. This system allows that to happen. Another issue with the Electoral College is distorted governance. Distorted governance is kind of a confusing idea as well. But let's say a candidate if they were to go into their first term, they'd have an issue with their re-election because if they were to say certain things, like if a candidate were to say they wanted to, let's say, restore relationships with Cuba, voters maybe in Alaska would be okay with that, but voters in Florida might be a little more hesitant because it's right in our backyard, just south of us, 90 miles. So, because if a candidate were, let's say the candidate wanted to restore relationships with Russia or China, they could easily do that because they're so far away. But doing it with Cuba is close, and that would hurt a candidate's effective of getting a candidate's chance of getting elected or getting reelected further on in their campaigns. Also, restating from what I said earlier, that this system distorts one person, one vote, which means that's not necessarily each vote means one person, because only the House of Representatives in the Electoral College is represented by population. Each Senate seat is 2. Senate seats are 2 in each state. This can be complicated in calculating votes. If they were to get rid of this system and had just the votes count of the direct popular vote, which would be much simpler in calculating the votes. One of the more important problems with this system is that it kind of holds the third parties down, because third parties aren't really going to be voted in by the Electoral College, because they're more focused on their two-party system, the Republicans and Democrats. The issue with this is that the American people might have a harder time learning or being able to even vote for third-party candidates, because the Electoral College would never let that really happen. People may ask if there's certain possible replacements. I believe so. I'm a strong supporter of the direct popular vote. The direct popular vote would allow just everybody, when everybody goes to vote on election day, the tally votes would equal our president. That's a true democracy. Our current system isn't true democracy. We have a republic. Public, like I said earlier, is when we vote in officials such as our senators and representatives that vote for us in the Electoral College. I say it'd be more effective if each American vote would count towards that candidate, because then truly we'd be able choosing our leader. And it should work for every election, not just the presidential election, which the Electoral College votes for. Our senators, representatives, they should all be voted in with the direct popular vote. In conclusion, I've stated the issues that are currently in place with the Electoral College, which include allowing a winner without the popular vote. You can have candidates write off states. It grants extra weight to parochial needs, like I said, like citrus farmers in Florida. It distorts governance. Like I said, is like a candidate wanting to restore relations with a country that are close, like Cuba. The one person, one vote is distorted. It also makes third parties harder to win elections. And like I said, the possible replacement is a direct popular vote, which allows each vote that we cast to be directly given to that candidate, which would tally out the winner at the end. More simply. Thank you.